Welcome everybody to the Archives speaker meeting. Can we please have a moment of silence for the alcoholic who still suffers, followed by the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Amen.
We ask that you please take a moment now to silence your cell phones out of respect for your fellows. And we will now pass the basket in honor of the 7th tradition, which states every AA group ought to be self-supporting, declining outside contributions. $15 will go towards rent of this meeting space, and the rest will go towards District 17. The AA preamble: Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of people who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organization, or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and to help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And again, welcome everyone to the Archives speaker meeting, consistent with Alcoholics Anonymous General Service Archives mission. Our purpose is to document the work of Alcoholics Anonymous, to make the history of the organization accessible to AA members and other researchers, and to provide a context for understanding AA's progression, principles, and traditions. We meet here every Sunday, or every last Sunday of the month. The first half of the meeting will be a Q&A period, followed by a break. And after the break, our speaker will resume sharing their experience, strength, and hope pertaining to a chosen page from the Big Book. This meeting will be recorded and stored at the Racine Area Central Office. A digital copy will be sent to Area 75 Archives, and you may contact your District 17 Archives Chair to arrange access to these recordings. Is there anyone here with less than 30 days of sobriety? This is not to single anyone out, but to simply welcome you. Welcome.
All right.
Looks like there's a few of them. Welcome. Is there anyone here with more than 15 years of sobriety? If you could raise your hand. Awesome. The speakers selected for this meeting are any member who has been continuously sober for a significant period of time. The definition of significant is open to interpretation, but for the purpose of this meeting, anyone with 20 years or older is considered an old-timer. These interviews serve as a representation of the significant impact that long-term sobriety can have on our AA community. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce our speaker, Toni M.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome, Toni. We've got a couple questions we want to ask you. What is your sobriety date?
Hi, everybody. I'm Toni Malik, alcoholic. My sobriety date is October 24th, 1994.
Wow. Who was the president of the United States when you joined Alcoholics Anonymous?
Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton. When and where was your first contact with Alcoholics Anonymous?
My first contact was the week after Labor Day weekend in '94, and I was 3 sheets to the wind, and I called the AA hotline, and I remember a very nice woman answered the phone. She talked to me for a while. I don't remember anything about the conversation. I do remember that she offered to meet me at a meeting, but I also don't even remember when and where that meeting was going to be. So it was calling the AA hotline drunk.
Gotcha. All right. Can you describe what Alcoholics Anonymous was like when you joined compared to today?
It was quite a bit different, especially with sponsorship with women, and even seeing the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous around at a lot of meetings. There was only one big book meeting a week at that time, and that was by the book group at the Church of the Covenant on Ohio Street. There was a 12 and 12 meeting here on Friday nights at 5:30, I believe. This place used to have couches and all kinds of fun stuff going on. There were really only a couple of women that actually sponsored that worked the steps. And there was an awful lot of maybe take a bubble bath or go do the dishes or, I think there was more about getting involved in service work than there actually was about like working the steps. So that it's amazing what Alcoholics Anonymous and Racine has become over time, with, everybody working the steps and sponsoring, but especially women, I think.
Oh, okay. What were you like as a newcomer, and how do you think others would describe you when you were a newcomer?
Is everyone laughing yet? I was joking with a couple of people that I had envisioned when this question was asked of me that the people that were here when I got here would just start laughing. I was an absolute basket case. I probably couldn't get 5 minutes into a meeting without crying. I'm still pretty fidgety, but how all the straws, the coffee straws, I would sit and like bend them all and twist them and be crying, and I was always whining and carrying on about poor me. I was just a pathetic little victim, really, and a martyr, and just thought that I was super sweet and the world did me wrong. So, and how would other people describe me? Well, there were several people that I think, weren't there a couple people taking bets that I wasn't going to make it? Because I was just such a mess and so self-absorbed. I think the coolest thing that as messy as I was, and as pathetic as I was, everybody just said, keep coming back and included me in things. So the love that was there was pretty amazing. I'm sure I had to have been quite a challenge to be around.
All right. Who was your first sponsor, and how did you end up with them?
My first sponsor was Kathy C. I had started actually seeing a therapist, and there was a group that the therapist had started that was for recovering people, and I met her there. She was at the time dating and then shortly after engaged to someone else in this room. And I was introduced also to my first home group through her. So.
Okay. Who were some of the alcoholics who were prominent in your early sobriety?
Roxanne and Wes, and Mark C, and Mike K, Danny B, Linda Mick, who lives she's still in Madison, I think, right? Renee B, who has since passed away. Who else did I? Joyce. Oh, Daryl M. I think that's pretty. Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate there.
Okay. Can you think of any AA catchphrases from back when you first started that you don't hear anymore or don't hear as often today? And if you have any, what they meant to you?
This one kind of tripped me up a bit. I mean, there were several ones that I thought of, and then I actually was talking about it just a couple of minutes before the meeting, but there was one like, you are looking at the problem. I remember my sponsor had these, she had them printed on clear paper, and then like you could, and it had a sticky back, and then you would put it on the mirror. This wasn't actually an AA catchphrase, but how people used to always say, it's a selfish program. That one made me mad because I always wanted to point out in the book that no, it's exactly the opposite. But one that just a few minutes before the meeting is, if you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got. Mm-hmm. So that one to me meant more like do the opposite of whatever I felt like doing, and it would probably be a good thing. So.
Okay. Did you get involved in service early on? And if so, what service did you get involved with?
Yes, very early on. Kathy was probably my sponsor for, I think, maybe like the first 6 months or so. And then I ended up with another sponsor who was very, very, very big into service and is still pretty active. The first thing that I ever did was I was a greeter at, it was the spaghetti dinner. I think it was a fundraiser for Rayco, I think. And, well, it's Roxanne D. And I just did what I was told, pretty much. She said, we're gonna go here and we're gonna do this. She made me a greeter. And I remember standing there with her, and everybody is hugging her and saying hi to her, and I'm just standing there like this, like I didn't really want to be there. I was scared, but at the same time then I was like, well, nobody wants to hug me. Or, well, people probably just wanted to stay away from me. So being a greeter, then we was involved with the Tri-County mini conference, did that for several years. Was secretary of a couple of meetings, got involved with the district. I think the first thing there, I think, was bridging the gap. And then got involved with corrections. Excuse me, I was secretary. And I was at DCM in 2000. In the middle of my term, I ended up moving out to Janesville. So I was a DCM when I left. jail meetings. I did that for many, many years. I think that's it.
Okay, well, that's a fair amount of service work. What kind of events or sober social activities were there when you got sober? And tell us what those were like.
Well, there were the AA dances. I did not like them at all.
No.
I remember getting assignments like that I had to dance at these things. Poor Wes used to have to dance with all of Roxanne's sponsees. Like the Tri-County, then there was just like it is now, the panels all day, and then the dinner and the speaker. And I liked everything up until then the dance started. There were area conferences that I really, really enjoyed also. And then some, like the spaghetti dinners, sometimes we did a little traveling, sometimes the Monday night action group used to have their, well, Mark, that was where you made spaghetti there. And I think that was for that fundraiser for Green Lake. So those kinds of things, yeah.
Okay. Last question we're gonna do. What do you remember most about the first time you sponsored someone?
I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified that I thought I was so powerful that I would just screw everything up. And yeah, that I just wasn't going to do it right. I did talk to my sponsor a lot more then when things came up. Yeah, I was pretty scared. Yeah.
All right. That is all the questions we've got. We're going to take a 10-minute break, and then we're going to come back and listen to Toni share her experience on a page from the Big Book. All right, we are going to welcome back Toni M, and she is going to share her experience, strength, and hope on a passage from the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous.
Hi, everybody. Still Toni, still an alcoholic. So I wanted to start. It's going to be a little bit more. Oops. Oh yeah, stand up and turn on the dome light, huh? Thank you. I'm going to start at the very bottom of 151 for context. It's chapter 11, A Vision for You, and then go to the very top of 153. Now and then, a serious drinker, being dry at the moment, says, I don't miss it at all. Feel better, work better, having a better time. As ex-problem drinkers, we smile at such a sally. We know our friend is like a boy whistling in the dark to keep up his spirits. He fools himself. Inwardly, he would give anything to take half a dozen drinks and get away with them. He will presently try the old game again, for he isn't happy about his sobriety. He cannot picture life without alcohol. Someday he will be unable to imagine life either with alcohol or without it. Then he will know loneliness such as few do. He will be at the jumping off place. He will wish for the end. We have shown how we got out from under. You say, yes, I'm willing, but am I to be consigned to a life where I shall be stupid, boring, and glum, like some righteous people I see? I know I must get along without liquor, but how can I? Have you a sufficient substitute? Yes, there is a substitute, and it is vastly more than that. It is a fellowship in Alcoholics Anonymous. There you will find release from care, boredom, and worry. Your imagination will be fired. Life will mean something at last. The most satisfactory years of your existence lie ahead. Thus we find the fellowship, and so will you. How is that to come about, you ask? Where am I to find these people? You are going to meet these new friends in your own community. Near you, alcoholics are dying helplessly like people in a sinking ship. If you live in a large place, there are hundreds. High and low, rich and poor, these are future fellows of Alcoholics Anonymous. Among them, you will make lifelong friends. You will be bound to them with new and wonderful ties, for you will escape disaster together, and you will commence shoulder to shoulder your common journey. Then you will know what it means to give of yourself, that others may survive and rediscover life. You will learn the full meaning of love thy neighbor as thyself. Sorry, that was... I want to preface this by just inwardly feeling like it, probably for the last couple of years at least, I've personally struggled spiritually, emotionally. An awful lot of this is of my own making. It always was, it still is, and it always will be. And physically for the last year, it's been a little bit challenging. So I have not physically been more involved with fellowship as I was. And that passion and that fire, like reading this, I remember reading this, and we hear about the famous promises, and there's promises all through this page here about what our life is going to become. And I shared a little bit about what a mess I was when I came in. I couldn't even imagine what it would be like to have a belly laugh again when I came into this program, as I was just so miserable, and I thought that my life was over, that, yeah, I will be stupid, boring, and glum. Well, sometimes, all of those. But hearing that there's so much more to this program. There was something also that we used to talk about that, I just wanted the pain to go away when I came to Alcoholics Anonymous, and hearing people around the table say, if that's all I would have gotten coming here, it's like being so shortchanged. Having a life that I never dreamed of would be possible. I was a single mom raising 2 kids at the time when I came in, and at that time, I felt like my kids would probably be better off if I wasn't around, and didn't really feel like I had anything to offer or contribute. Coming in and hearing people laughing in these rooms, we talk about it's like the music of Alcoholics Anonymous, right? And in the beginning, there was nothing funny. I was highly offended that people were laughing about some instances, and coming to learn to be able to laugh at myself, stop taking myself so doggone seriously, being part of something that I don't think exists anywhere else on this planet. How as a result of train wrecking our own lives, that we come together and we recover from that hopeless state of mind and body to learn to live and be a part of this life at last. Being able to be a sober mom, being able to be a good daughter, to try to be a good friend, a good employee. The joy in finding, like how I used to be terrified to walk into my home group even, and then with getting to know other people and letting them get to know me, some walking in and feeling so happy. And for quite a while, it actually felt like the only safe and happy place that I could be. But then because of what you guys in this program and a loving God has given me to be able to go out into the world also. And there's another one. We try to be the best page of the big book that we can today. So I'm thinking about if I'm all ticked off in the express line that somebody has 13 items and it's only 12, am I going to be a jerk? Or am I going to, how important is it? And what page of the big book is that? Bless you. There was the first big event that I ever went to was at the Waukesha Expo Center, and it was for the Badger Intergroup, and when Clancy used to speak there. And that first year, I was not gonna go. I had something happen. No offense, I hated men. I wasn't going to go. I was going to stay home. I was going to hide under my covers. And Mark got on the phone and said, put your GD dress on and get in the GD car and we are going. And we got up there and I remember seeing all of these people. I was so scared, right? I was really a jerk that night. I think that was the first night. Well, it was the first night I ever met Wes, and I guess the first thing out of my mouth was he went to introduce himself to me, and I said, I hate men. I don't remember that. But I wouldn't take my coat off. I was just acting like a 12-year-old, really. But fast forward to the next year and going to that same event and walking in and seeing all these people and being excited and filled up that all of these people are sober and living life and happy. And then going around the room and everybody holding hands in that room and just being in awe of what we have. From two guys, total polar opposites, right? Starting out that had train wrecked their lives and they just wanted to help each other and stay sober themselves, and where we are today with this. Reading, especially A Vision for You, and then like the last two paragraphs that we read a lot at the end of meetings, just that there's just such love and enthusiasm and gratitude for this program and for all of you guys. And thank Sam for asking me. Sorry that I wasn't here last month, and thank you, Mike, for stepping up and speaking. I think that's all I've got. Thank you.
All right, Toni.